Very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's uLaw webinar. Today's webinar is not accredited for any CPD credits. In fact, today's webinar is going to be one of those short series webinars that we're starting to experiment with to keep the messaging crisp and maximize your time, especially if it's not a demo or if it's really not a CPD session. We understand how valuable your time is, but we wanted to concise and provide you with a presentation that drives home the key component or the underlying aspect of the subject that we want to cover in that particular webinar. So it's been a while since we spoke about starting a new legal business and the power of a solo practitioner, really talking about the benefits, some of the aspects, the risks, the rewards, if you will, of starting your own business, running your own business, especially as a solo practitioner, especially within the legal business, and highlight some of the help that you have from a technology standpoint of tools and technologies that in today's day and context, you as a solo practitioner can benefit from. Explore the use of these products and tools to not only build better efficiencies around your service offering, but also give you all of that business intelligence that allows you to be better prepared for success. With any business for that matter, everyone requires these important components, especially who would not want that magic recipe for success. And using your own data, using the right tools, and using the right process of using these tools within your business, especially when you're a sole practitioner, we believe that you're setting yourself up for success. You're, of course, planning and de-risking many of the issues or situations, problems that you may face as running a business. And hopefully, this is the start of a series of these quick webinars that uLaw is going to begin conducting that not only just talks about legal accounting and talks about all those aspects of how you manage compliance, but also really talk about how you can best run your business. We have run similar series. We did a branding webinar that really highlights the important experiences, the user experience, the overall customer experience, and experiences that you as a legal office should consider providing to your end audience, your clientele. And this would be a part 2 of that series, Solo Power, starting a new legal business. You can maybe add to that what it takes to continue to run a successful solo practitioner business in the legal industry. So every uLaw webinar has a specific agenda, and today's webinar has these following items as part of our agenda. Really talking about who is that entrepreneur? Why are we talking about an entrepreneur in the context of a solo practitioner? Because we truly believe a solo practitioner in the legal business is an entrepreneur, is someone, she or he, who really believes in a certain value proposition that they can bring to the table, something that's probably missing in the business, something that you represent or your firm represents. Maybe your experience having worked in other sectors, maybe your experience working in other firms, the good, bad, and the ugly that you've seen that helps you and drives you to deliver a certain differentiator that you believe you can bring to the table to your clientele. Right? So from that perspective, someone who's starting a new business, someone who's creating value and starting afresh, we truly believe in the context of you being an entrepreneur and talking about the risks of being an entrepreneur, we'll definitely highlight some of those components. We'll talk about how can you set up your business, what are the important tools that you could use to run your business, more specific to the legal business. And some of these tools, of course, may be generic in nature. We're all talking about email. We're talking about text messaging, which has become a big thing in legal tech, as long as you can follow the guidelines of the CACL, the Canadian Anti-Spam Law, making sure that your emails and your text messages are warranted when you do communicate with your clientele. WhatsApp for Business is really starting to pick up as a faster way for you to correspond and communicate with your clients. Once again, ensuring that through the retainer letter and other modes of formal communication, you can highlight the risks and rewards of these various technologies that you plan to use as part of delivering your business, right? So we'll definitely talk about some of those tools that are available, how best we find other firms utilizing it, and the evolution of these apps. And that pretty much covers the agenda for today. So if you really look at a wiki definition, and we looked this up on, of course, Google to figure out how best to define an entrepreneur. And the simplest way that we wanted to redefine, having gone through all definitions, is an entrepreneur is someone we believe who creates value and runs a business for themselves. And this could be one individual business. This could be a business that involves various different roles, businesses that involve various different stakeholders, businesses that involve various business investors. Okay? So from that perspective, if you were to extrapolate that same definition to a solo practitioner or a legal practitioner who's just starting solo, she or he is really looking to create a value for themselves, looking to run a business, which really means that you're starting your own business. It's your own firm name. You are going to be the owner of that business, whether it's a solo owned, whether it's a incorporation with certain shares involved in it, right? So you are owning that business. You are owning the revenue of that business. You are owning the expenses of that business. You're owning the risk reward of that business. And that's what we've looked to highlight. One of the first things that an entrepreneur faces is the fact that you need to really be clear, definitive, and have a perfect understanding, I would say, of the risks that are involved in running a business. And the legal business is, in fact, no different, if not more hard. And the reason that is hard is because if you take any other business, for example, right, the amount of compliance, the amount of oversight that a business has is something the legal business has one extra, right? So a professional business, let's look at a professional business, there's always going to be that governing body that's going to have an oversight, whether that's a dentist, a doctor, any other professional services that you may keep in mind. Now, from a legal business, especially in Canada, we find Canada is one of the very few countries that really imposes on regulating, I would say, the overall legal business in terms of audits, in terms of spot audits, in terms of regular touch points to make sure you're doing all the right things. In addition to that, of course, you have the opportunity and challenges of running the business, creating a name for yourself, marketing the brand, getting revenue, dealing with all of that. If you are dealing with trust in general, then you have that added pressure of having to make sure that you have the right tools to deal with those processes. And at the end of the day, you also have the CRA, to whom you report your business, revenue, expenses, profit and loss, and being able to be accountable for both provincial jurisdictional taxes as well as your corporation income tax, right? So again, all of this is not to mean or to give you the fear factor or to scare you. You're already, most of who have joined the webinar today are in some form or shape an entrepreneur or are looking to be an entrepreneur. If you really look at the essence of all the different entrepreneurs and solo legal practitioners that we have worked with over the last 12 years, one common aspect of all of them is the drive to provide a differentiated value to their clientele. They all believe that they can bring that extra X factor, if you will, that is missing in a specific area of practice, niche, where they believe their skills can help them excel. So if that is something that's resonating with who you are someone who is willing to appreciate, understand, and de-risk the problems, then this is a great opportunity for you to explore. If you look at the alternate, then you, of course, have employment. As an employee, in the legal business is no different. Like any other business, you are being employed by a legal firm or a law firm where, of course, you get, depending on how the arrangement is made, certain law firms have revenue share, profit share. Some law firms have regular employment where you pay the salary for your value process, right? Whatever you provide as value. In contrast to being employed as an entrepreneur, you are actually in the opportunistic spot to employ people. So an entrepreneur not only is someone who's solo, as you expand that pursuit and as you grow your business, now you're starting to employ or contract, assistants, additional legal professionals, co-workers, etc. Now, before you get started with your business, pretty sure many of you have either heard from families or friends what it is to be in a legal firm, have known about it during your education, have been yourself an apprentice or an intern at a legal firm, may have even worked at a legal firm, but have a fair understanding of what it is to run a legal business. If none of these situations match where you are, then we recommend that you actually do as much as reading as possible or talk to the right people so that you can gain that knowledge of what it is to run a legal business, the different facets of a legal business that you need to be aware of, the multiple balls that you have to juggle to ensure there's harmony in how you run that business. Because without setting up yourself a plan, without understanding the nuance of running that legal business, jumping into just being a practitioner or sole practitioner is just, not preparing yourself well for success. And that's something that we firmly believe it should be a big part of your business plan. Every business, any entrepreneur should certainly consider it almost a first step as writing down a business plan that contains the problem statement, why you, why your business. If there are so many other legal firms in Canada, what is it that you're looking or can bring to the table? Or what is the opportunity that you have to contribute and make revenue for yourself? Maybe you don't have a huge value differentiator, but you understand that there's more than enough workload that you as a business can now share. That's being smart too. Whatever may be your decision to move forward being an entrepreneur and starting your business, a business plan is key. A business plan is also key to reflect on the items that you had planned to succeed upon when you started and reflect upon 1 year later or 2 years later to see if you're on track with what you had planned for and why you had started this business to begin with. And that's where many of these tools, the data that resides within all the practice management that you do, becomes very important, so that the data can then give you the message and the information that allows you to make an informed decision, right? From talking to our clients and, of course, researching enough, we wanted to wrap up why be an entrepreneur in a single sentence. And the highlight of that sentence is the personal satisfaction that comes from having the freedom to make your own business decisions and act upon them. Right? With more power comes more responsibility. But of course, if you are that personnel, if you have that characteristic, or if you have that drive where you believe personal satisfaction, having control over your destiny, and having that freedom to make those right decisions or wrong decisions, but they're your decisions, and you can reflect upon them, learn from them, and grow from them, then that's one of the biggest rewards that we believe that you have waiting as you take this pursuit as an entrepreneur. If you're more the person now who rather be told what needs to get done, or the risk reward does not balance, where you don't really have the time or the skill sets yet or the personality to run all of these different aspects of what a business takes to run it successfully, then being honest and truthful to yourself actually is going to help you in the long run to make the wise decision up front. Right? So if making your own rules, enjoying the work that you do, of course, planning to create greater wealth for yourself and your family, and last but not the least, as big part of a legal business is really helping the community. Right? You're all daredevils in your own right. You've picked this business with a notion of wanting to help and contribute to the society, help that landlord, help that tenant, help that plaintiff, defendant, that victim in a problem, right? Helping the community, and if that's part of your value proposition, then it's definitely an opportunity for you to explore. And if you're already in that pursuit, reflect upon why you decided to become one. Now is a great time. Now we have a bit of lull period, if you will, so even though we're just really catching up and we should be back to normal hopefully soon, this is a great time for you to reflect on why you began that journey and how best you can now pivot or steer yourself towards that goal. There are many risks of being an entrepreneur, and we wanted you to face it, and here are a list of a few. The first and foremost is that of a potential business failure. Many of the businesses that start in legal business, outside of legal business, don't sustain beyond 12 to 14 months. And this is a fact. There are many statistics that can talk about various different ranges, but in general, if you've been able to sustain for 12 to 14 months, then you've really proven yourself and you worked hard in that first year where you've really gone through hardships, right? Setting up the business, getting the investment for that business, promoting your business, having that first customer believe in your business, repeating that first success with the second, third client for your business, getting comfortable with paying for expenses that you didn't plan for as part of your business, all that comes with that initial year. And if you've done well to take that first step, that leap, and promote yourself and be successful in that first 12 to 14 months, then you've done well for yourself. But there's always that potential of a business failure as you start your own business. Okay, so you need to certainly be responsible for both the success and failure of the business. Unexpected obstacles. This mostly comes through expenses. This comes through maybe the relationships that you've created amongst your peers, your clients. You should always, expect the unexpected, as they say when you're running a business, and mitigate and have contingencies for these types of obstacles that they may come your face, right? Financial obstacles. So always planning to have a month, 2 months, as they say, of backup money to help, or have the right avenues where you can, go back to a financial institution maybe for a loan, whatever may be the avenue where you're able to deal with that unexpected obstacle. Financial insecurity. This is another key aspect of any small business that's just getting started. Many new businesses don't make as much money as you plan for in the beginning, and it's a journey, as they say. So it's very important that you're aware of that situation, and if you plan for it, then you're not going to be left, waiting and dreaming and expecting results that were never meant to happen in the first place. right? So if you're expecting that you're going to be making, a couple of $100,000 a year the first year, great if you plan to do it, but it's not just going to happen without you just acting upon it. So it's very important that you appreciate the subtle insecurities that you're definitely going to be facing, and from a financial perspective, this is where you have the community of other legal practitioners, whether you're being part of associations, whether you're part of clubs, or groups, Facebook groups or others, where you can share, ask the right questions, even get yourself promoted with a mentor who can help you through this process. Okay? Many times, educational institutions have professors who have been legal professionals themselves at many colleges and universities, so they're a first great avenue of mentorship to help you guide through that process. Long hours and hard work, that's kind of cliche, to be expected, with many different things that need to be accomplished within that first 6 months of, putting your foot on the ground, starting to walk, jog, and run through that business journey. It's very important that you are patient, that you're fully aware that a lot of effort needs to go in, and you need to be able to find the balance between work and life and family to be able to deal with the pressure of the business and hopefully not take that back home, because you want to ensure, or maybe you take that back home as long as it does not affect the quotient of happiness, if you will, of why you started this to begin with. And having data and really not fearing the data, but really reflecting on the data is going to help from not only planning the months and weeks ahead, but also planning to mitigate and sometimes pivot. It's totally fine if you've been down a path and it's okay. It may hurt your ego a little bit up front, but it's totally okay in the long run to change that direction, if you will. You started off with maybe criminal, or maybe you started off with family law. You reflect on it, 6 months goes by, or a year goes by. It's important that you reflect. Where are you getting your leads from? How much of money have you made in that family law that you believe was your strength? Can you make that subtle change to deal with real estate transactions now? Can you do more wills in estate? Because, today, again, being very aware of what's happening around you, educating yourself, and suddenly changing your business strategy to be more successful. Are you willing to do that? Or, those are types of quotients that you need to be aware of so that you can always be light on your foot and make those subtle changes. And data helps you not only promote that information, but also give you that sense of direction, whether you're going down the right path or not. Okay? So yeah, solo practitioner, equivalent to an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you're feeling what that individual is feeling as he's going through lifting those weights. If he's prepared, if he's planned, he's going to lift those weights. I could certainly see it in his muscles. Okay, so it really comes down to where you are in your journey. If you're just getting started, if you're someone who's just graduated out of college and you're looking for opportunities to explore, you have cic.gc.ca. You have your individual provincial business registries. That's very important. So if you want to just Google Ontario Business Registry, Saskatchewan Business Registry, Alberta, individual provinces have their own business registries, and then you also have the cic.gc.ca, canada.ca as very informative websites. And if you go in there and search up small business, has a ton of information for small business owners to begin with, the steps that you have to take. Right from searching for the right business, one of the first things that you do when you start your legal firm is come up with the name. We spoke about that briefly during our branding session, right? Really coming up with a good name for your firm reflecting on the brand. Many times it's just, the name that really resonates well with the clientele. So understanding if that business name has already been taken, what options do you have? This is the first place where you start. Business registry, registering your business. And then, of course, creating or approaching the financial institutions, once again, based on research, based on speaking with others who have done this. The types of institutions that provide you with the flexibility that you need as a modern legal professional. Could be banks, could be credit unions, whoever gives you the best options to be in a modern, forward-thinking ecosystem for banking and for financial. So you really want to explore financial institutions that give you the access for online portals. You don't want, print, and that's the only way you can access. The only way you can access your information is walking to a bank. You want that online feature. You want a mobile app feature. So again, you could have your own little list of what you expect as a consumer or as a business owner with your financial institutions, but most certainly the next step is to create the accounts, because when you go there, they're going to ask you for your business name and then for the business registry document, where it clearly tells you that this is registered in your name, here's your address, etc. And then, of course, when you do open that bank account, especially if it's a general account for your business, there's going to be some initial deposits required, so making sure that you have the money to invest and have that initial deposit made, maybe coming from your own personal money to begin with. Or you may start a law firm with the investment money that you get from investors. Either ways, you have to make sure that part of that transaction working with the bank involves that. Next comes building a web presence. Okay? There are certain legal professionals who are very tech savvy. They may have studied this during college education, or they may have just the acumen for technology and may have gone to take classes online, LinkedIn Learning, many other platforms that are available for you to be self-sufficient. So building a simple WordPress website with information about yourself, the areas of practice that you offer services in, a key differentiator so that people can understand what you bring to the table, hours of operation, and ensuring that you are Google friendly in terms of search engine optimization, things of that nature. So going with the right tools that give you all of that. Some examples that we want to present include WordPress, one of the most commonly used website development tools. You also have certain other tools in today's context that actually give you a lot of templates, such as Wix. There's also another tool called Weebly, W-E-E-B-L-Y. These are platforms that allow you to either modernize your current website if you already have one, or create new websites if you're just getting started. They give you templates that you can choose from. And a legal business is certainly one of those templates that they encourage you to use. You have a lot of co-working, or how do you call this? Fiverr is one of those platforms that you can actually get people to work for you at a very cost-effective price. If you need a legal assistant, if you need someone to help you with your logo branding, someone who helps you with design the website, someone who helps develop the website and maintain it, Fiverr is a great option for you to explore. And then you can choose Fiverr and then type in VS, which is Vistas, in Google. That gives you all the options of other such platforms that give you that flexibility. We looked at Vistaprint, very easy way for you to generate your, whether that's business cards or flyers, or you could even approach your local stationery businesses that can offer you that, Staples, etc. But online, Vistaprint is one among the top sites that facilitate all your printing needs. Now you need a phone system. There's a couple of options when it comes to phone systems, right? You, of course, have a cell phone with any of your providers, ensuring that these are, invest in the right phone, a modern phone that allows you to make, of course, calls, of course, very simple, straightforward, but also if you are into tech, allows you to download apps and be more Web 2 friendly, if you will. The other phone system that we often see law firms invest in are the ones that are for your offices, a voice over IP. This is where someone dials in and you have the opportunity now to say, hey, press 1 for support, press 2 for the front office, press 3 for, this legal professional, etc. So some options, of course, old school, you still have Vonage that helps. Ring Central is another second. We've also found some new other platforms that you may want to explore. There's one called CORVUM, Corvum. They are based out of Vancouver, I believe, Canadian company, doing really well. They give you a lot of analytics about your calls, ensuring that your calls are never missed. If you do have a voice message, comes to your email right away. They can even text it to you so that you're on top of all of your voice messages. Then you have Google Voice, Microsoft Teams. So depending on whether you have chosen the Google route for, let's say, your Gmail, your Google Drive, everything else that you're doing with your business, or whether you've gone the OneDrive way with Microsoft Mail, or Outlook for that matter, or Office 365, maybe you're going with OneDrive and all those suites of tools. Both these big players provide you options for voice. Marketing platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn to promote and message your business. Moneris, Pivotal Payments, TD Canada Trust, you have Global Payments. These are some of the payment gateways that allows you as a legal professional to accept payments for all the charges you're going to make to your client. These are not only using your devices, these are also integrated with cloud-based systems such as uLaw that integrates with third-party payment gateways, gives you the flexibility to intake payments right from the click of a button. Legal accounting tools, practice management tools such as uLawPractice, and there are many more. I'm sure you can Google that. In today's day and context, you have more power of knowing what options there exist and making the right decision based on what's best for your business. And we are one among the options for you to explore. Document cloud-based, I already spoke about that. There's, to be quite honest, there's a Microsoft way, there's a Google way. You may find other ways too, but the kind of cohesive, complete, robust platformization, if you will, for a business comes from these two big boys, Google and Microsoft. One of the things that we started seeing, especially with the COVID being what it is in the situation, is digital signatures for your firm and to get the signatures from your clients, especially if you're doing real estate. I'm sure you're preview to many of the digital signature tools that are out there that already come with it, but it's a great platform to invest in, to have digital signatures, which is readily then integratable with something like uLawPractice, whether that's DocuSign, HelloSign, EchoSign. They all provide you varieties of services. They're all digital and e-signature platforms. Of course, each platform has its own pricing point and how well they play with the platform of your choice. Okay? If you're using Google, making sure they're compatible with all these platforms. Last but not the least, you've also heard of these new tools called Zoom. Everyone's talking about Zoom. You've started to hear, I'm sure you've heard the news about courthouses conducting, sessions, hearings using the Zoom meetings or other online meetings products, right? It is going to be the future, or at least going to be part of a future for legal business where conversations are made between the client and your firm, between other parties involved across firms, and even to the point where it may be extending to court houses that may not open for a certain time going forward. It's also a great technological advancement. You just have to figure out the platform that's best for you. We're currently using, as we run this session, using a tool called Join Me. Very friendly, of course has its odd problems, certain interruptions, but by and large has been a great platform for us to run these webinars. So if you're sharing a confidential agreement, you of course want to make sure that you read the fine print of all these tools that provide you this comfort of delivering this message like how I'm doing today from the comfort of my home through the use of internet and through the use of these tools so that I can connect to such lovely people on a Friday afternoon. Imagine taking that to your clientele, having a click of a button to suddenly start a WebEx Join Me or Zoom session. There's quite a few tools today, including Google. So if you are a Gmail user, something for you to keep in mind, you will now start to see this little button. It used to be called Hangout. I don't know if you've heard of that, but now they've started this Google Meet. Facebook has started its own, online meeting platform. So there are many options out there. Of course, Teams has the Microsoft has its own products that they support. So you certainly have options, but most certainly it's something that you need to look into today so that you can be better prepared or actually use that as a differentiator for your business. Okay? So start with your business, the basics, fundamentals, get your business registered, get your bank accounts, get your online presence, all of your marketing content done, explore the right phone options, get yourself legal accounting practice management software that can help you remove all the headache of having to run a business and report that, the financial numbers to multiple parties, the CRA and your law societies. The right online digital signature tools that can further enable faster access to information as well as being able to deliver things on the cloud, online, taking payments faster through payment gateways that give you that flexibility, modern tools such as WebEx, Zoom, Join Me that add to the communication channel. Okay? And to our subject line as to how you can cut dollars, these are tools that are affordable compared to having a physical office present, right? These are all the tools that are available to you at the comfort of your home at monthly charges, so it's not a big dent in your capital budget. It's an operational component. And you have tools that come with various pricing options, so you can pick and choose the one that's best comfortable to your current budget. Now, if you want to buy a terabyte of data from Google Drive, that's a different price. If you're happy with the initial 15 gigabytes of free stores they provide you, and there you go, it's at no charge. Fiverr, you have people who offer you a website for less than $30. You have people who offer you a website for $300. There are people who offer you a phenomenal automated website at $3,000. You have those options. You can explore them. Okay? Of course, I have to highlight the component of legal accounting and practice management as a message from the sponsors, if you will. Legal accounting and practice management, definitely, as you said, in that chronological order of things that you need to consider, is something that you most certainly have to keep in mind. This helps reduce the amount of paperwork and financial crunching, if you will, especially if you're dealing with trust money, ensuring that you're able to report the appropriate reconciliations, ledgers, and journals, ensuring that when time comes to audit, you have that comfort level, the peace of mind that you're already prepared for that examination, that's priceless. So having the right tools, investing the time and effort to learn these tools, of course, and how best it can work for you is a given. But making it work for you, automating a lot of these business processes is going to help you be more efficient. And as a legal professional, it's expected that you are compliant And as you improvise by automating tasks, you're reducing your operational expenses and hence automatically helping you improve your bottom line and your profitability. Data points that you collect from these tools allow you to make the right business decisions. So if you're doing well in a certain line of practice, then now these data decision points help you invest in that direction. If you're not doing well, these data decision points help you to make a decision, as adverse as it may be, to redirect your strategy towards your revenue generation. Okay, so never fear data, never fear the facts. And that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you in today's webinar. For those who don't know who we are a Canadian legal accounting, practice management, and business accounting software company based out of Ottawa. We're Canadian, that we serve Canadian clients only, legal professionals who are looking to modernize their legal practice and be compliant with Law Society and build value for their business. Okay, so once again, if I were to wrap this up, this would be the key slide that holds good. As an entrepreneur with various different aspects of business that's going to hit you, have the drive, and that you've started this, have the right tools that can help you get to that point and get through that journey as happy as you like it to be. Have the right tools to automate business processes that you don't have to spend your time on, and continue that pursuit of happiness, satisfaction, and success through your entrepreneurial journey. And we will do at uLawPractice our very best to participate and contribute to your success. So I will pause at this particular time to answer any questions that you may have with regards to today's webinar. And yes, this webinar is being recorded, will be available to you on our YouTube channel as early as Monday. And it's not a credit for CPD. I still hope there was value out of it and your time was well spent. Thank you. Okay, if there are any questions, please do take the time to email us at support@uLawPractice.com. We'll be more than happy to take your questions there. Any recommendations or suggestions for webinar topics that we can cover, and I'll certainly look forward to seeing you in our next webinar next Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much.